and I don't use Botox as
लिहाजा
much.
मैं इस वजह से मैंने काफ़ी
I'm
रिसर्च
clean,
की
but I do
जो
behave
बिहेवियर
like
पर
you saw, like a
और कुछ
21-year-old.
बहुत नॉइज पोल्यूशन उन्होंने
Good
कर दिया
morning.
इतने
Can
सालों
start?
में हमारी पॉपुलेशन 1.3 बिलियन हो
Are you
चुकी है
curious why
तो
I
पढ़िए
chose to
अंग्रेजी
talk
लिविंग
about
में
my life?
स्क्रोलिंग इज सो सिमिलर
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of To Be Honest. We have a very special guest tonight. We have Vivek Mishra with us, and he is the co founder and CEO of Fibroheal. And what is Fibroheal is something we would like to hear straight from his mouth. He would give us details, but we would get to all of that in a bit. So, this is my introduction. I would just ask Vivek ji to introduce himself in his own words and give a little background information about him, about his growing up years, about his childhood, and all of that.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Malvika, for bringing me on your show. So, I'm Vivek Mishra. My roots are from UP, and I grew up in Arunachal, did my graduation from Orissa, did my post graduation from Pune, and it's been close to a decade since I moved to Bangalore. And that's
Wonderful.
how the journey started. And I mean, right now, I'm running a company which is called Fibroheal, and
Go ahead, Vivek ji.
so
I think we have a
is it?
little bit of
Yeah.
connectivity issue. Yeah, please continue. Continue.
That's perfectly all right. So generally, I use this dialogue, and I often say that for the wounds related to heart, only compassion can heal. For rest, all types of wounds, you need fibroheal.
That's a punchline. That's a very nice line, I must say that. So tell us,
Yeah.
talk to us about your childhood, and a little bit about your growing up years. You're from UP, but you have moved around a lot. Like you have stayed
Right.
quite a bit
Right.
in Northeast as well. So
Right.
how did all these things, these different places, they have shaped you as a person?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So my father, he's a teacher in Arunachal Pradesh, and my mom is also vice principal with a school. So coming from an academic background, you often grow up in that strict environment. So, so mine was no different. I had the same strict environment, but that has shaped me significantly in what I am today. Because generally you get on a path, and then after once you have an 18-20, you don't deviate from that path what you have been brought up into. So that point of time, it was not good. We used to feel that we are too much dominated by our parents. Looking back, I feel that they did the right thing. So, of course, growing up in different parts of the country helped me in mingling with people. It also helped me to not get biased towards certain things. Because being from UP, growing up in Arunachal Pradesh, there were different issues at that point of time, mountainous regions, terrains. During rains, there will be 15 days roadblocks. So you have seen all kind of challenges, and that also taught me about being punctual, being on time. Because when necessity is the mother of invention, so when you face problems, you realize that no, if you don't do by this time, you will not get it. So that's how it all shaped up, and one thing led to other, and I think it was a wonderful journey staying in different places. And northeast is wonderful. I mean, it's a nature's beauty. It was wonderful.
um, I'm so glad the way you have put it that to hear this, that how little experiences in your life, they don't make sense when they are happening, but later when you look back at them, how they shape up you as a person is something which is extraordinary. And I hope that all the young people who are watching this would keep this in mind when they are facing turbulences or obstacles in their life, that it is just something which would be of value later, right? So
Very true.
moving on, tell me about your teenage formative years. What were you like? Were you an inquisitive, curious kind of a kid, a studious student, or you were like a free bird who liked to do his own thing? Tell us about that.
Sports. I used to like playing sports and being so discipline was inculcated in us because and so somehow discipline was because father teacher is your father, so you can't say anything. The rule applies even at home. What is in school. So the good thing was I was more into sports. I was more into those kind of things, and and it was a typical childhood, where not and particularly in Northeast, you don't have much channels and those kind of funky things. So you get only one channel, that is DD National or Doordarshan. So we watched that channel, and on Sundays there we used to be a movie at 4 p.m. in the evening. That is what we used to watch. That was a fun thing. But looking back, I mean, it was fun. However, I was an introvert, studious, and neither whatever I'm gaining should have some use. So it was more application oriented since starting. So a couple of incidences I would like to highlight, that if I'm reading about physics, capacitors, charges, so I will open fans capacitor and try to see where is resistance, and later on you get a solid thrashing from this thing. Your mom that why the hell did you mess up with capacitor? So that's how things were. So I was never an
Wonderful.
extrovert guy.
So it's amazing that you would and most of the kids who are that level of they have that level of inquisitiveness are the ones who go out and end up doing something in the field of innovation and technology and creativity. So wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. I must also ask you that teenagers or teenage is a very difficult time for everybody. Did you ever face bullying? Did you ever face something which made you feel less about yourself?
Yes, I'm sure everyone would have faced this. If someone says I have not faced, they are lying upfrontly. Even I faced it, because in your classmates there are people who come with big money, or they have in school time they have motorbikes, and then so it has more to do with showing off family status, showing off a couple of English movies which you don't know, and then they try to show you off, or particularly you're not good in studies and they try to run you down. So running down is something which people, I'm sure everyone would have faced it. Even I have faced it. But it's like the quickly you put it aside and move on. You have to realize that, yeah, this is what I have to do, fine, hell with it. So that kind of approach. So probably it didn't. And moreover, coming from a normal background, staying in different places, it helped me to be more accommodative and not take things so seriously. So it helped me to overcome those things.
That's the problem that the younger generation face now, that they tend to take things a little too seriously than they should, at least in
Correct.
during the teenage and the growing up years. It is quite normal to not look like somebody else, or not behave, talk, or have similar tastes, but they try to fit in at the cost of their individuality, which is something, as you said, one should
Agreed.
not be doing. Wonderful.
Agreed.
So, moving on to the next question, I would like to ask you, when did you develop? You talked about that you used to open the capacitors of the fan and you were inquisitive. So, is there any distinct memory which you associate with science, which made you feel that, okay, this is the field that I want to pursue in depth?
Yeah. So there are two incidences which I would like to highlight. So one was in +2, where I scored a pretty low marks. you know, even fail is not the right word to say. Even fail will also get ashamed, looking at that marks, and it was in chemistry, and that led to me developing interest in chemistry. So that was one incidence, uh, and then I realized, then I had this passion that I want to become father of chemistry.
That's a big thing after, scoring low in the exam, and then you suddenly turn around and say that I want to
Something.
become the father of this subject. Interesting.
So I mean, as a teenage, all kind of emotions come out from you. And then second incident happened when I was doing my pharmacy. So I was placed in hostel, and I am really pathetic in diagrams. I'm not blessed with, this painting and other kind of thing. So we had, particularly in our first semester, we had a couple of books. I am still remember the author's name. The author is Raymond, this thing. And the subject was anatomy, physiology, and education. So there was particular image which has to be met. And I was bad in it, and everyone else had made it. So what I did was, in hostel room, I had this study lamp. You get that study lamp. So I put that study lamp, kept that paper, kept a glass seat, and put that paper, that book paper, and I just copied it, and mine was the most beautiful thing. And the professor also knew that he has done something wrong, because it is not normal thing. Because of this.
Like you mentioned earlier, this is it is the mother of invention. I think you really follow it in your life.
Yeah, so he knew that, your handwriting is so bad, your this thing is so bad, how can the diagram be so beautiful? So exactly, but I can't tell this. And that was an incident, post which I somehow started liking, or although this was, more than marks.
So, moving on. Next question. This was very interesting bit that you shared with us, because converting a failure into a motivation for yourself is something which is not what people encounter often or are able to do often. So kudos to you for turning that around. And so next question is more general, in basically asking you what kind of a person you are. So do you describe yourself as an urban person or a rural person? And yeah, I already talked about how growing up in different places shaped you, and you gave us a wonderful answer about that. So this urban or rural thing will come later. We'll talk about it. Why I'm asking this question will come a little later. Yeah.
So basically, I see myself as a person who is still connected to the roots. And so basically, I'm a person who who is connected to my roots. And intrinsically, I want to solve a problem which can address to 75-80% people's needs in different ways. If at all, if I'm successful, I do something, or if I have to address. Because when you look back, when you look at your roots, the kind of problems you faced, even still you see that there is a lot of places. Bangalore is super urban, but you go 30 kilometers away from Bangalore, and you will see a different side of it.
Okay, so I was asking you about, as a government school student, government schools are not favorable for a lot of parents. It's not an option. What is your take on that, as a as a person who is government school educated? And this is not just you. I have come across a lot of people who have been educated not just in government schools, but schools which are in the villages, and they have gone out and done so many wonderful things, and yet they are made to feel less about themselves. Please.
So trust me, the question you have asked is quite helpful for many people. And given a choice, I will still go back to that school for two reasons. Number one, the school taught, it may not be education quality wise, it may not be to at par with some of the top notch private schools or something, particularly extracurricular. But looking back, it gave me the real life scenarios. And in day to day life, I face the real life scenarios. There, even some time back, you asked me about bullying at various levels, during your early and teenage age. But it helped me. Trust me that bullying at that point of time helped me to transform me into a better version of myself. Basically, it helps you to metamorphosize into something which you want to develop. Same way, the interactions are the you say interactions with your seniors during college time. So government school basically transforms you, because that you are on your own. You will have to go to next level. And also to add this further, the government school of northeast region, because there is no other much private schools there. Now it has come up. The quality of education was way superior, even at that point of time when I studied there. So the professors, or the quality of education, even at that point of time, was at significant decent level. But more importantly, There you learn real life skills, because in my some of my own classmates, they came for coaching, they did all kind of things, but when real thing come, when real thing was, when you go through that litmus test exams, boards and all those things, then you realize ki, what you are, that is what makes the difference, what you have learned. And basically, we all say that, and particularly if you're in government school, you get a chance to explore all kind of things, whether it is strike, whether it is unwanted things, wanted things, and trust me, it transforms you into a person. And it's on you, how you drive yourself, your life, and next step. So I feel myself as lucky, having come from a setup. There we never noticed that, what it was, and we just enjoyed, we went with the flow. But looking back, it has transformed me to become better version of myself, because there were a lot of challenges. So you don't get threatened when you see different challenges.
Uh, you say
Yes.
that
Yeah.
now, but were you at any point of time self-conscious or lacked confidence when you went out, say for example Bhubaneswar, or when you moved out to Bangalore? So uh, all of us have faced, coming from small towns, there is a certain image that is attached to us, and it is difficult sometimes to either you conform to it, or you are an anomaly, you do not conform to it, and in either of the case, that's a problem. So please say something about that.
Yeah. So no, definitely I faced the problem. I carried this thing, and there are so many things, which happens when I moved to Bhubaneswar. That was a different kind of place. Coming from background, then whether it is social strata, whether it is financial strata, education, different backgrounds, it all plays around. I would further like to spice it up with an incident. When I moved to Pune for my MBA, I was very particular, not to go out with friends. Particularly, you understand, I'm on early 20s, and so I used to stay away from girls for the reason that bahar gaya to bill ka kya hoga, who will pay the bill. And this is a real life, because you get fixed amount from your, from your family or something, and this is a real life
I'm
situation, what I'm
glad
trying to tell
girls
you.
don't have to think about that, and nobody questions them if they're not going out. I never went out because, like you, I was always very tight on money.
So I mean, that's on a lighter note, but frankly, at that point of time, you realize, then suddenly you realize someone is coming on a sports bike, but you know that, you're, so there were different kind of things, or you realize you are scoring 70s and someone is scoring 90s. But one thing you have to be very clear, that enjoy the journey. Don't get caught up into all these things. Enjoy the journey, and always make it more application oriented. So as you rightly indicated, academics play a role. And I would also like to give an example. When I did my summer internship, I did it in a newspaper company. My background is pharma, healthcare, no way connected. But trust me, that experience was the biggest, because I used to get up at 3 o'clock, take things on my bike, go away, and particularly if it's a financial newspaper, all rich people, you can meet them between 5 to 6 a.m. If you don't catch them that point of time, 6 a.m. the bus is missed. So there you learn something. So that internship, 2 months, it taught me multiple things. Other than the areas and routes of Pune, it taught me about how being on time, and I still honor it. That if you're committed someone, you.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you are pointing out those little things. You are not aware, but so many people watching this would find so much value in observing what is happening in their life. These little things which matter later.
Correct.
So thank you
Correct.
for bringing it again and again. And I hope that people who would watch this would learn this aspect from your personality.
Thank you.
So we will now dive into your venture. Tell us more about Fibroheal. What was that seed in your mind that germinated, and how it all came along?
Well, that's an interesting concept. So, wound is one area which is often ignored. And before Fibroil, I was part of a company which used to deal with seeds. So Tata Chemicals acquired a company in Bangalore, and I was leading the rice seed business. And I got a chance to interact with some bright brains, include, and entrepreneurs as such, whoever, small or big, they have something in it. There is that bug is there inside, and that is infectious. That is infectious, that is contagious more than corona. Trust me. So once you get caught up, with that, so all these things happen. So I mean, I I was a guy, introvert, not very confident guy, and somewhere there I got a chance to travel India length and breadth, because seed business, I was heading rice seed business. You have to go to a rural village, Supal in Bihar, then Dhamtari in Chhattisgarh, all these small areas you have to go. You have to eat with farmers, you learn about them. Similarly, I visited Karnataka also, and you learn that silk is an amazing biomaterial. And I met a gentleman, his name is Bharat Tandon. He built a company in animal health space, which later on entered into a joint venture with a company called Promi, and later on it was acquired by Cargill. So one of senior level surgeons from Ministry of Defense, who happens to be his school time junior, he did the matchmaking. And what we see is, normally you won't find a, late 50s and early 20s guy coming together, because there will be a lot of, class and thought differences. But there, what we saw, I found something, a chance to learn, and together we started this journey. And the good thing was, one thing led to other. Silk, we know that a good silk sari lasts for years together, from grandmother to mother to their daughter-in-law. So different things were there. And again, if you look at a silk cocoon, a living organism stays inside a cocoon. So it's breathable. So those were factors, and lot of research had happened earlier in the area of silk, but no one has been able to commercialize it. So proudly, we are the first company in India to be leveraging biomaterial application of silk, and few in the whole world to be doing so. And also, I will touch upon a special point, that is the need. So people were using collagen or some other dressings. So we realized that there is a need which exists. And many a times, many people, they don't know what is required or what is their need. Sometimes you will have to go and mention that this is something which can solve a genuine problem. For example, we always read about story of Henry Ford, that if you would have asked in 1920s, people would have mentioned that I need fast running horses, and car wouldn't have been born today. But we realized that, when car came, and so these are some of the factors which led, multiple things led. I won't say that, it was all my idea or someone else's idea. One thing led to other, one connection, one failure, one success, one get out, one welcome. All those things happened, and it all led to Fibroheal, where we are today.
Wonderful. Why this story is interesting, because we often hear, we hear this, that Rome was not built in a day, but we often forget what it actually means, and the turbulations and the obstacles and the difficulties that you face, that you're mentioning. And it's how it is a conjoined effort of so many people. Some input from someone at some point propels the project forward in a small way, big way, does not matter, but everybody is involved. Wonderful for sharing that. And I wanted to ask you, uh, how silk is for, this would be to stitch wounds. Am I understanding it correct?
No, it is to cover the wounds or heal any type of wounds. Cover the wound, as well as in different types, cavity wounds, surface level wounds, different types of wounds.
All right. Oh, so with that, that makes it so much more interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
I was having a completely different idea. Yeah. Okay.
So I will adapt one line here. My aspiration is to become one-stop solution, or the most comprehensive wound management company from India, catering to different stages and different types of wounds, utilizing silk. That's my aspiration or aim, what I'm looking at, that any type of wounds. You remember my first dialogue. For the wounds related to heart, only compassion can heal. For rest, all types of wounds, you need Fibroheal. So that is what my aspiration
So
is.
is using silk as wound healing, does it have a better turnaround time in terms of healing?
Yes. Yes. So I will give an example. There is something called as economic angle. There is something called as social angle. There is something called as environmental angle, and there is called something called as, financial or economic or employment generation, or revenue generation, or improving quality of life of different people. I'm glad to say that with Fibroheal, I am doing all of that. Number one, India is second largest producer of silk, and this is grown mostly by farmers. Our PM has been addressing this loudly and wide, that I want to double farmers' income. So it's a small step towards that, because right now silk is only used by reelers and weavers to stitch, saris and textiles and other things. But if a non-textile application of silk or silk usage comes into play, there is a whole set of different industry, and it gives a chance to the farmer to improve its income genuinely. Because medical industry, normally if you consider, one side is textiles, one side is medical industry, medical devices industry, surgical industry. So that is on the farmer side. Coming to medical side, the load on patients will come down, because one dressing or one type of dressing lasts you between 5 to 7 days, depending upon the type of foods. So the load of dressing change on nursing staff and the doctors comes down. And also, since the product is locally sourced, and it is, Karnataka is largest producer of silk in India, so it is based in Karnataka. So the logistic cost and the raw material cost, we are able to make the product more accessible and affordable, because presently 85% of the products are imported. So considering all these factors, it also has, the economic potential or economic sense for the patients. So patients, doctors, farmers, hospitals, everyone gains.
And I must also point it out, like you mentioned, that the changing bandages and all, that also has an environmental component to it, which I
Yes, it's
think.
biodegradable. It's biodegradable.
Wonderful, wonderful. So
Biodegradable.
it is solving so many objectives, meeting so many objectives at the same time. Wonderful.
Correct.
Yeah, so moving on, I asked you about why silk. You explained why silk as an option. So, what was your biggest challenge that you have encountered up until date, and how did you go about solving it or navigating it?
So one of the biggest challenges is making people buy in your vision. That is number one. All other things are secondary. First, making people buy into your vision that, yeah, here, this is something which is unique, different, and it has the potential to transform your life, career, everything. Second, handling people, or they call it man management. Identifying the different skill sets of people and ensuring that they deliver. I put these two conditions, much higher than fund requirement, because if these things are right, fund, investors, you will find often I see startups talking about, fund nahi mil raha, I want to raise funds and all that. But you need to do the, right you have to place few right things. I would like to give an example that, if someone is trying to run and they are expecting that I get Nike shoes, then probably I will start running. And if someone starts running, someone will come and gift them. So this principle applies here. And to make it more friendly, I will give you a very simple example, which I learned from a gentleman, that I generally I shouldn't say it because all startups will get upset with me. But generally, startups, financial condition is always slightly compromised. So one gentleman told me once that any beggar who is asking for money, there needs to be few coins in each plate. Then only someone will give. Otherwise, no one will give you. So this gentleman is a very nice guy, but it is so true that once you are generating revenue, or once you have something to show, people will come and support you, fund you. So I take it that way. I mean, on a lighter note, I gave an example, but this is the real
No,
thing.
no,
And
they spoken like a true leader, because you are talking about very raw, real problems that you face out there, which you do not study about in a business school. They will
correct,
not teach you these things unless you are going out, wetting your feet in the water. This is not going
correct,
to, these lessons will not come by. So
correct,
wonderfully
correct.
put. Wonderfully. So, and tell us about who was your constant pillar of support in all of this. Because, like you said, selling your vision and having somebody to invest in it, not just financially, but sometimes also supporting you just by being
Yeah.
there. So, who was this person?
No, so I had my parents, I had my co-founders, and not to forget, I had many friends whom I have supported at different stages, and they have supported me at different stages. So it's like, you build each other up. So you build 3 4 of guys, and I am proud that many of them, will be are part of this journey and will be part of this journey in coming time. So people who have trusted us, who have believed us, and you feel low, you need people. And I have been lucky enough to find good people around me who have motivated me, who have offered solution, rather, uh, I have been around with positive people, so that helped big way.
Yes, yes, wonderful. Let me also ask you this, that you were lucky that you were surrounded by a lot of people who motivated you, supported you. But did you ever feel like something stuck somewhere where you felt like giving up? And if at all you felt that way, what did you do to take yourself out of that thought process?
Yeah. Probably I don't even remember how many times I felt like that. Okay. On a lighter, on a this note, yes, we do. Every day is a challenge. You face why I am doing it. Better give up, take up a job, do something, find So those kind of things, it keeps happening. But yeah, there are different times which happens, and I often give this example. Sit happens. Once it happens, turn it into fertilizer.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So turning that, sit into fertilizer is the key. What will differentiate you from being a startup or being an idea to moving to a startup, and from a startup to becoming into a company, and from a company to becoming a professional enterprise or organization. So that's a basic thing which I often say.
All right, I'm telling you, you're speaking like a true leader, a visionary who knows what they are doing and how to move in the direction they want to move ahead. Okay, this next question is again more of a question which is of relevance to a lot of people. Innovation, discovery, and research are areas in which our country still lags. Uh, your your product is something which would come once in like 15 or 20 years. So why is that despite of having so many engineers, so many colleges, universities, we are still lacking in that basic inquisitiveness in our students?
Well, you have touched a very burning question, I must say. The reason being, we all are in that rat race, not just for employment, but even for thought process. And no one is trying to, learn the application of the knowledge. We often say that we often use the word willingness is not enough, you must do, and knowledge is not enough, you must apply. So any knowledge which is not being applied is of no value to us, right? So basically what I see that a lot of medical, a lot of engineers, a lot of people, they study, but somehow they always get into that rat race. I have to learn, I have to earn 30,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, those kind of things. You get into cycles. Now, one thing is, money is something which is never going to give you happiness. The fun is in the journey, not the destination. Trust me. I still enjoy, having that 1 rupee special chai during my college time more than, what I will have a coffee, paying 250 or 300 bucks at Starbucks. That I don't enjoy, but I still enjoy that 1 rupee tea what I used to have during my college time. So the money is never going to buy you happiness. The fun is in the journey, the way you build up, the challenges you address, although it may look like a big pain point, but trust me, once you overcome that and when you look back, you will realize, oh, it was fun.
Okay, tell me something. How did your parents react when you said that you want to have a startup? You're not going to do a regular job and you want to go into a startup and do this absolutely new thing which people are still working on.
So trust me, I expected a different response, that my parents will say that शादी नहीं होगी, दहेज नहीं मिलेगा, there's that all kind of stories. But my parents were quite cool about it, which was more surprising to me, that कहीं सुनामी आने के पहले की तो शांति नहीं है. but but it was, they were cool about it. My father supported me. Not only that, there were many point of time, when he went on to, without asking, he has transferred money in my account. I don't know. So that he has done it. Although since he's a teacher, the earning is limited. But those things has happened. And then he also used to take situational updates, what's happening, what's not happening, and even trying to understand. He may have a limited ability to understand business, but there are some real life lessons they will give you. They may not know that this is a great lesson and probably it solves your problem. So my father has been great support. My mother was there. I mean, I told you, somehow my family has been of great support to me. They have never dissuaded me, but they have always cautioned me, particularly from my mother's side, that even, at this age, even if I am coming via train or a flight, that you typical get that खिड़की के बाहर हाथ मत निकालना type of thing.
What is very sweet and typical of an Indian mother.
Right. So, I mean, that's how the journey was. But it was, they were supportive at all stages, and even today they are supportive.
I would ask you now, as a mother of two girls,
Right.
how can we inspire our girls to take up more of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects? Because they tend to, they've always been fed this, that it is not something for them. Can you say something to inspire? Shut up! Can you say something to inspire everybody, all the women and girls who will be watching this?
Yes. So I will give you outright example. Just now you were saying this, and your daughter shouted at you, and you have to say shut up. This is a live example that keep your mouth shut. We are no way less capable, and we don't want to get fed that we are not good in STEM, science, technology, and maths. My point is nowadays women are doing a lot of good stuff. Trust me, and they are one who are inspiring us. Probably, if you look back, so I won an award as the most innovative startup of the year award. Yeah, in 2019. I was accompanied by a 26-year-old lady, I must say, because he was married then. Her name is Shweta Gupta. She is right now on maternity leave. But you will find photos on our social media platforms. A short, sweet girl. She was the one who helped me win the most innovative startup, and she's just a BTech in biotechnology. Where many PhDs fail, a BTech biotechnology girl was able to help me. I also accompanied her, but we were the winners of one of the most innovative startup awards. Similarly, my other colleague, her name is Mrs. Bhagilakshmi. She helped me during one of the programs, which is organized by CCAM, Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms. And there was a competition known as LEAP, Launching Entrepreneurs for Affordable Products, LEAP. So through this LEAP program, there were 3-4 stages and screening. She accompanied me, and we were winners, and CCAM invested in us. CCAM picked up equity through LEAP program in our company. Now I don't buy this term outrightly because two girls has helped me win most innovative startup of the year and LEAP program. Now this is a life testimony that women are nowhere less, women are nowhere this thing. They know the subject, they know. This is something which our society has been fed into, that women are scared of maths, women are probably. I don't believe in that, neither I buy that. And particularly women, they are much more better, sharp minded and better managers compared to men, particularly, which I don't say directly, but I know that this is a fact based on my experiences. So I feel that they should explore more. They are blessed with so much mind power, so much management power, so much thought power, and you will see a lot of women making a lot of difference in science, technology, mathematics field. There are movies on a lady, who are pioneer in mathematics. I'm sure I don't need to name it. Everyone knows about her. So
Shakuntala Devi, yes.
these are examples. Yeah, yeah. So everyone knows that. Look at Kalpana Chawla. Look at people. Look at Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister. So my point is, we all. So these are something which people should look at. And
Thank
I
you
firmly
for
believe.
sharing your stories about your colleagues, and I hope that more women, more girls would start looking at science as an option, as a career option, and our country would benefit a lot from if more women are into.
You know, I will slightly differ from you. I won't say career option, but I will say it as a life option. Include science in your life.
Better put, I must say. Okay. So, you have been talking about applying your knowledge. So, as parents, what can we do to inspire our children to be more curious, more inquisitive, so that their natural bend of mind becomes scientific?
Yeah, that's something which I will give my input. You may validate it whether it is correct or not, but I will give my perspective here. See, first of all, generally what I have noticed, where my friends or even within families, and you know, we often talk about other people. So I often put it this way: great mind discuss ideas, mid mind discuss events, and and lower mind talk about people. So we need to discuss about ideas and events that, if global bio is happening or if Olympics is happening. So that are events that we should talk about. We should get involved in them or discuss about ideas. If a bird is flying, how bird is able to, show them the bird and say that how they are with their tail, how they are managing it and how the movement. Then you, or if you are driving the car and then you are going by a curve, explain centripetal force, centrifugal force, those kind of things. Make it fun. Make it fun. So the three things, don't talk about people. That's rule number one. If you want a natural bend, because as a raw brain, we don't want them to, only Mark Zuckerberg can, look into others' life and build a multi-billion-dollar company. Not everyone can. So don't talk about people, discuss about ideas, discuss about events, and encourage people, encourage your child, encourage family members. So encouragement is a very powerful tool, even if someone is believing they can't. And if you encourage them, chances are there that they will succeed rather being failed. So I feel that
Yeah, you are saying such nice positive things, and you come across as a very very positive person, and I'm so glad I got a chance to sit and chat with you, and I'm sure people watching would be taking away a lot from this session. Do tell me about who were your role models when you were growing up.
uh, so I wanted to be a cricketer. I will be very honest to you. I wanted to be a cricketer till the time I realized that you need a lot of money, because there was no IPL when I was in my teens. So there was no buyer for me. I won't get a 2 crore contract. And often I used to get, shouting or even couple of slaps from my mom for, playing for extra hours and all those things. On a lighter note, but that point of time, one of my role models was a gentleman called John T. Rhodes, who was one of the best fielders. And
South
my
African cricketer, yes.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And my father has also helped me in becoming one of very good fielders at that point of time. So,
Rhodes was a
so
fielder primarily,
yes,
known
to
for
put
his
it,
fielding. He was a
yes,
batsman as well, but known for his fielding.
yes.
Am I correct?
No,
Yeah.
no, you are correct. So same was the case with me. That if I am there, if someone has hit in any zone near me, they would have to simply walk out, because they know that it won't be missed. And my father has a big role, because he gifted me a cricket ball during my class 5, 6 times, and somehow it was ball coming any side, I will be able to grab it. Now to put it in a different way, even लोग जब फेंकते हैं तो आज भी मैं पकड़ लेता हूँ. So so आज भी when you are building startup, you get all kind of different types of people. So I mean, I have this good habit of catching things. So on a lighter note, but yeah. So Jonty Rhodes was the role model then. As I grew along, then I developed passion for I had a professor in my college. He was one of my mentors, and basically two professors. One was a very fun and jolly kind of thing, who used to enjoy life, and the second was a very scientific, technical bend oriented. So they implemented, and then I met all different set of people. One thing which has made me a better person is I always hanged out people. I was always more comfortable with people who were 20 years older than me. So wisdom naturally sinked in. So these were the factors which led to, but that's how it was.
So, would you talk about your national award nomination? Let's call it that. What does it mean for you? And yeah, about that.
So national award is a matter of pride, because 12 companies have been elected as winners of National Technology Award. That is organized by Technology Development Board. It's a statutory body under Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. One good thing is they have acknowledged our efforts. They have acknowledged that an indigenous technology has been commercialized and made available to people, which has potential to solve some genuine problems, cut down imports, improve economics of scale of silk production for farmers, as well as bringing down the cost, as well as employment generation. So that it's a matter of honor and pride. We have won National Technology Startup Award. So it's a matter of pride, and I'm thankful to Technology Development Board, Department of Science and Technology, and all the leading scientists. I don't know who all would have supported me, who have gone through my proposal, my various competitions and others. So I'm thankful and glad to all of them. In case they watch it, or even if not, I'm thankful to them. And it changes the mood of the company. People feel that yes, So I gave you an example. 2019 most innovative startup award, 2020 during Bangalore Tech Summit Startup of the Year award, and in February 2021 National Technology Startup Award. Now this changes the mood of the company. People know that we are on the right path. It may be turbulent, but the path, we know our destination, we are on the right path. So whole company mood changes, and particularly during this COVID time, everybody charged up. So the timing couldn't have been better than this, because people tend to get shaky in the vision part, but now they believe that Fibroheal is in the right path, and we will do something which we also would be proud of.
Wonderful, wonderful, and many, many congratulations to you and to your team. And we look forward to, even if it's a virtual event, I would be really looking forward to watching you get the award. And
Thank you.
uh, let let me also ask you this before we move on to the fun part, the easy, breezy, getting to know you part. Uh, do you have any message for people who are struggling or finding it difficult to carry on professionally or personally?
Yes, I will give a message. It all lies here. It all lies here. So, generally, if you have to climb up or raise yourself, you need to be light. Don't carry things. Whatever it is, find a solution to it. You know, something which is unwanted. I say it, if something is not giving you, learning, fun, knowledge, entertainment, or enjoyment, please don't waste time on that. And anything, don't keep here anything which is not going to pay you rent, because anything you keep in your mind which is not paying you rent or improving you, out of the 5 things which I highlighted, it's a waste of effort and energy. So please, open this baggage and your life will become light.
Okay, spoken like a true science person, identifying 5 things and talking about not carrying the baggage. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for saying all those things. I hope it is of value to people who are struggling for n number of reasons. The times are difficult. People are losing jobs. People are depressed, generally staying home. So I hope it is of importance to somebody who is hearing it and needs to hear it. Uh, to also talk about, are you a religious or a spiritual person? How do you keep yourself calm, concentrated, and focused?
Yeah, so I'm more of a spiritual person. However, I visit temples, I visit, any holy places to keep yourself calm and composed, because as a startup you get into turbulent thing, and I won't say I don't lose myself. Even I lose my lose my grip over myself in certain times as a young blood, young energy, or sometimes situations. But you will have to get there. You need to come under control. One important thing is living in the present moment. Number one, live in the present moment. If shit has happened, shit has happened. Now the next step is finding a way to turn it into fertilizer. so so that is something which we try to reach there, that it has happened. Now how we can make it more productive, and it's a learning lesson. We'll have to take it with a and second principle is, you can afford to lose couple of battles, but you can't afford to lose the war. So consider, as a battle, as a fun thing. Someday you win, someday you lose. So that's those kind of principles, if you follow. Every day is not a happy day. You feel sad, you feel let down, you feel. And there are, when you are building a company, you are dealing with a lot of external, internal, and you know different kind of stakeholders. So you will have to take it with a pinch of salt, be open to new things, and then apply your thoughts. And one thing, don't take life so seriously. Why to make a permanent decision or something which itself is temporary?
Very nicely put. Thank you for saying that. Very nicely put. We often tend to forget in the turmoil of things that everything is temporary. It's going to, this too shall pass. So we tend to forget this, and taking things lightly, not taking life itself so seriously. Those are important lessons. You are saying it in such a, you're smiling and putting it out there, but these are such important lessons that we tend to often forget when we get caught up in our own thing. So tell me about a book that you really value. Any book, science or otherwise?
I don't know whether I should say science or not, but there is a not so known author. Her name is Rasmi Bansal. I read, she's from IIM Ahmedabad, and one of her books is Connecting the Dots, which I read in 2013. It has impacted. After that, I have written, I have even read the book by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1, and different types of, finding. I mean, after that, I have moved into multiple books, you know, tigers, camels, and all kind of things I have read. But that book was one which, opened my frame towards looking at entrepreneurship. There you have all the stories, of someone growing makhana in some, so those kind of, there's a collection of few stories, and then that was something which inspired you, and that's how things shaped up.
Wonderful. Okay, now you tell me one of your favorite old songs. My channel is Bollywood Nostalgia, which means we do old songs. And which is your favorite old song?
Gulabi aankhein.
Can you sing for us?
I'm really bad at it, so please don't ask me that. Other than you can ask me for another round of interview, but I'm not blessed with that voice. But this song is so meaningful. You can fit it everywhere, whether you're smiling eyes, whether you're emotional eyes, whether you're crying eyes. You want to put it anyway, you can put it anyway.
When
So
you have a
generally, when
pink eye or when you have an eye infection, even then
I,
perhaps.
yeah, or even when you are happy or when you are crying or whatever you say it, and now I'm realizing recently that even when the new tissue grows with my silk fibrin, the tissue is pink. So somehow
Is your favorite color? Is it right?
you can say so. I won't say we call it pink or not, but
My daughter would be correctly able to, she would be able to identify the correct shade of pink because she loves pink. So yeah,
but
that's her
yeah, that's
department.
a song. That's a song which I still enjoy, and generally that is a song which you will always hear. It's a generic song. Every party you will hear that song, but it still remains one of the
Our favorites.
something.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Your favorite personal mantra that you keep iterating to yourself?
So I always, consciously make it a point to keep myself motivated and try not to get into three gyan which I give. You know, bright minds discuss about ideas, mid mind discuss about events, and you know, cheap mind or low minds they discuss about people. So generally, I'm also a human being. Sometimes I tend to talk about people, then I had to pull back. So that is something which I try to include in myself. And secondly, one most important thing is honoring time. If you have said, if I have mentioned that, I was delayed by 10 minutes and I messaged you at 6:59, I remember that, I will be delayed by 10 minutes. So often I see that nowadays people think that, if I'm delayed, that's okay. India mein chalta hai. Remember, the difference is only that chalta hai ki nahi chalta hai. Keeping the other person informed, being open in communication, being open in informing the other person, and honoring other person's times and your time. Time is something, if you respect, all other things will fall into place naturally.
Very, very important point. Very good lesson. And we would wrap this up by asking you this last question. What is your message to all the men and women who would be watching it?
So one thing, all of you are special. Everyone has got some other quality. So don't try to fit in. I mean, you can't judge a elephant's ability to, by making elephant climb on a tree, and a monkey's ability by lifting the weight. So all of you are special. Just find out your calling, what you are good at, and don't try it. Just figure out what you like, and trust me, something which you love. If you make that your career option, you don't have to get pushed. Automatically, it will pull you, and you will have you will have a wonderful journey. So don't get caught up into what others are doing, what others are. You have your own path, own journey. Live in the present moment. The fun is in the journey, not the destination. I'm again telling you, reiterating you again, the fun is in the journey. So enjoy that journey. Generally, you will realize, many of people who are watching, maybe youngsters in their early 20s, earning 30, 40, 50, 80K, feeling that I'm earning so low, I'm not able to enjoy life. Trust me, when you start learning a couple of lakhs, or you won't enjoy life, you won't find time. So live in the present moment, have fun, do everything in a light and jolly manner, and accept this fact that this is temporary. So all I have to do is, play and enjoy the journey. How when you are playing a game, you are just into that game, you forget everything around that. Just be like that. Just live in the present moment and be punctual, honor people, respect people, have a carry empathy, understand other situations, also support each other. And one simple line before I close, I will mention that please remember, we all rise by lifting others. If you lift someone near you, we all rise. So we all rise, we rise by lifting others. So do that, include that in your life.
Thank you, Vivek ji. This was such a wonderful session, and you are a very positive person, and one of the I think a very inspiring person that I have met in my life and that I have interacted with. Usually we associate science people with seriousness, with probably aloofness, cold like science, but you come across as such a warm person, and you have spoken about some very important things and put it out in very clear point lines which other people can also follow. Plus, you have certain leadership qualities that others can take a lesson from. Building an entrepreneurial venture from scratch, how to lift other people through your work, because your work would be impacting, like you mentioned, not just revenue and employment generation, but the very lives of people. And these are some very, very inspiring initiatives and achievements, and many, many congratulations to you and your team for winning all the technological awards and for the national award which is coming your way. And thank you so much for your time, for speaking to us and having such a nice chat. And I am very happy. I hope that people would take this interview and watch this and learn so much from it. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you, Malika. Thank you, Malvika. Before I close down, I was also like any ordinary person. So generally, you become, some total of 5 people you hang out with. So my other two co-founders who have built companies of scale and exited it. So there are a lot of things which I have also learned from them, picked from them, because at the age of 65 or 58, 57, they carry a, Wikipedia of experiences. Now you have to decide, those things to learn. So my co-founder, Mr. Bharat Tandon or Mr. Subramaniam Sivaraman, I have learned and picked up a lot of good things from them. So what you are seeing, Vivek, today, probably, has gone through a lot of fine tuning with a lot of experiences, lot of learnings. And trust me, inherently nothing comes to you. I was also like a normal guy, having his own issues, having his own disturbance, having own being, not doing well in job front, getting into politics, all kind of things. But the people you hang out with, and this has brought me into a level where I'm able to see through the clutter. This is important, this is not. So my humble request to all of you would be, get along with good people, find good mentors, be with people who talk about ideas and events. Don't, you know, don't talk about people. And once you have good people around you, you don't have to do anything. Your life will automatically, get raised much more than what you would have expected.
This is an important bit of advice for the youngsters who would be watching it. Hanging out, choosing right kind of people to spend your time with, it shapes your mind, influences you, and shapes you up as a person as well. And this respect for older generation, respect for experiences, because you learn a lot from them, which we tend to often in the arrogance of youth people forget and choose to ignore. I hope the TikTok and the Instagram generation will stop by and sit with someone older and try to get some wisdom which has been earned over years. So thank you again.